Imagine selling the house you lived in for 20 years, and then 3 months later, you get a letter in the mail from some lawyer threatening to sue you for misrepresentation. And according to that letter, the buyer of the house is claiming that you sold them the house without disclosing that you would get water into the basement. But you never had any issues with getting water into your basement. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you exactly what any seller would need to do if they sold a property and later on were pursued for damages for misrepresentation. I'm Paul Zimmer, a Wisconsin real estate attorney that helps southeastern Wisconsin individuals protect their real estate and business investments. So get this, they are threatening to sue for $30,000 plus attorney's fees plus punitive damages. This is something that happens every day across the greater Milwaukee area. This is the exact same scenario that our clients John and Diane were in. John and Diane received the same letter. John and Diane were sent the letter because the buyers were claiming that upon refinishing the basement, they found evidence of water damage. And now, even though the buyers had a home inspection, the buyers are claiming that they were deceived. That's when we came in. Eventually, we were able to send the buyers a response letter that articulated all the problems with their case. And John and Diane never heard from the buyers ever again. Unfortunately, lawsuits happen all the time in real estate. But do you know what you would do if you sold a property and the buyer came to you months down the road claiming that you didn't disclose some sort of defect? Now, in the case that I just described, John and Diane did not know that there was any issue with any water coming in through their basement, so therefore they had nothing to disclose when they were selling the property. The basement was finished, although a little bit outdated, and John and Diane had never experienced any water seepage during their time living there. In fact, John took pride in his ability to keep the home well maintained. When selling the home, John and Diane filled out a real estate condition report, just like pretty much every seller does when they sell property in Wisconsin, and on that report they had to disclose all of the defects about the property. Now, a defect isn't just anything wrong with the property. A defect means a condition that would have a significant adverse effect on the value of the property, or that would significantly impair the health or safety of future occupants of the property. A defect is also something that, if not repaired, removed, or replaced, would significantly shorten or adversely affect the expected normal life of the property. Now, when John and Diane filled out their real estate condition report, they honestly checked no that there were no defects in the property. So let's say you're in this position. What do you need to do? First, you want to engage an attorney, which is where we come into play. The buyer could try to twist anything that you say or do about the property to try to support their misrepresentation claim. So you do not want to do anything or communicate in any way that could negatively impact your defenses to the claim. Next, you want to brainstorm all of your potential defenses. Were the issues disclosed to the buyer in the buyer's inspection report? Or in the buyer's appraisal, such that the buyer's claim of being duped is without merit? Were the buyer's own actions, such as inadequate maintenance of the property after purchasing it, the true cause of the alleged defect in the first place? Once you've organized all of your defenses, you typically want to educate the buyer and the buyer's lawyer about all the reasons why you are not responsible for the alleged issues to try to get the buyer to drop the claim. And if that doesn't work, from then on, the case is about preparing to be able to raise the defenses either to the judge on a motion for summary judgment or to a jury at a trial. Meanwhile, we always consider the pros and cons, the risks and rewards, and the costs and benefits of potential settlement opportunities as the case goes on. Now, in the example I just shared with you about John and Diane, who were accused of not disclosing water seepage coming through the basement, they were able to convince the buyer not to file a claim. We were able to accomplish this by firmly pointing out in a sternly written letter that the buyer was never going to prevail because all of the particular defects allegedly being raised could only possibly have been discovered through undergoing the type of remodeling that the buyer was doing to the property, the type of large-scale renovations which John and Diane had not ever undertaken during their ownership. Further, John and Diane were able to argue that the buyer had destroyed the key evidence of the alleged seepage problems during their remodel. So you can see how important it is to have effective legal representation when dealing with one of these claims, just like John and Diane were able to get out of this without any liability. If you need representation on buying, selling, or investing in real estate, visit our website for more information or check out the rest of our videos on our site and our channel. Or you can call your friends at Zimmer Rens and we'll analyze your entire situation and provide you with a very clear plan of how to proceed.